Yes Welder sent me this welding machine to test out. And now I went ahead, I've got a bunch of other welding machines, but I decided to go ahead and test this one out because this is a 205 amp. Most of the machines you get are like your 135 to 155 amp. With a 205 amp, it's going to give you a whole lot more benefits because you've got your duty cycle. So by having a bigger machine, even if you're not pushing it to its limits, you're not going to hit that duty cycle as quick and will be able to run a lot longer. Now this machine is supposed to be able to do MIG, TIG, and stick welding, steel and aluminum. So I've got some setup here. I'm going to try to do some aluminum welding with this, and I'll even try to do some TIG. I've never done TIG before, but let's see if a person who's never TIG welded before is able to TIG weld with this machine. So let's get started. As is common with all these little machines nowadays, is they automatically switch. It comes with a 50 amp 220 plug, and if you don't have 50 amp 220, it comes with this little adapter. You plug it in, and then you can plug this into 110, and then the machine will run on 110. Now that's going to limit your power and your maximum output. So even if you are not going to be pushing at the maximum so that you need that 200 amp, I find it's much better to run it on the 220 because that's going to give you a lot longer before you hit that duty cycle. Another thing you're going to get with the 200 amp over the 155 amp is that you can put a 10-pound spool of wire in here. So you can get these pound per pound are usually more cost efficient. And if you're actually doing something, a real project, those little small 2-pound spools are going to run out really quick. So it's definitely nice that you can get the 10-pound spool. Now, one of my pet peeves that I hate, and this company has done it, is that there's this setting chart that came with the machine. When you go on their website, the manual you can download if you lose the manual, but this little chart is not on their website. I think anything that comes with the machine like this, you should be able to download a PDF off of their website. I've got it taped in here, and we'll see how long that lasts, but it does have a lot of good information on it. Also, and it gives you pictures of how to set up the machine for the different types of welding. All right, so let's go over some of the features here. Since we've got we're set up for stick, it's showing that we're in stick. It's showing that we got 220 volts. Now, this is our amps. So we're at 100 amps, and that's going to be determined by our stick and the thickness of the metal. There's a chart over there about what amp set you should set it for. Now, if you push this button, it's our hot start. So this is going to make it easier to get started. It's 0 to 100, so that hot start, it gets it. Now the dig, that is how deep it's going to burn. You turn that up and it's going to penetrate deeper. So if you're with a thicker metal, you can turn that dig on. And then this, we'll go ahead and turn that on. Let's see. So this is supposedly to help no load. So when you're not welding, to turn the voltage down. And then this is your anti-stick. So that detects whenever, if your rod or whatever gets stuck, to help keep it from just melting up the rod all the way. So that is another great feature. So those are all the features we need for our stick. So let me go ahead and see if I can put down the bead. All right, so that's the first bead I ran in several months. Got a nice smooth bead here in the beginning. It started heating up, and I could feel it dropping down. So that's why I stopped. But you can see here, it's actually was coming through on the bottom where I needed to turn that dig, I guess, down, or the amps. I had it set on 100 amps, and this is only 1/8 inch thick. May not even be a full 1/8 inch. It may be 3/16 or 3/32. To me, that's better, that if I have a machine that can actually penetrate all the way through, because I can always turn that amps down, but you get those machines that you're maxed out on, You can't always go up even more, and that's what you want is good penetration. So as far as stick welding, this is going to be terrific. All right, so I went ahead and printed this off of their website, and it says that the V rollers, which some of their rollers have a V on them, and then it had W rollers. Well, there was no W roller, but they did have this K roller with the K on it. And then we have this one here that just has the number on them. So, and then we have a U roller here. You know, so we have the U, V, so I'm guessing the K is the same as the W. Luckily, I've got a laser, so I went up here and I put like aluminum, you know, for my .045 so that I know. But there should have been a chart, one, that the numbers that were pre-printed on here matched the chart, and then this chart should have been in the manual or on the machine. All right, so let's go ahead and set this thing up. So this is our wire diameter. We're going to go to our .035 welding mode. So you've got your lift TIG, stick, manual MIG. Now manual MIG, you can set your speed and your voltage separate. I prefer the Synergy mode, and what happens in the Synergy mode is if I change my speed, it's going to change my volts. So I know for like 1/8 inch metal, I need about 19 volts. Now this is going to be a direct relation to what size metal you are using. But if, say, you want to just fine tune it, you can push this and we can go plus or minus 10, which will over the standard. But this is going to be the basics for anybody that's starting welding. So this is a really good starting point. All right, so this is another real nice feature. They've got a plug-in for a heater for CO2, because sometimes if you're using a flow regulator and you're doing a lot of welding with CO2, you can freeze the little ball up and it sticks. So with this, you can just plug in your heater right to the machine, and that way it's running while the machine's running. So I have never MIG welded or welded any aluminum. So that's one of the real things about this machine I'm excited for. So I've got my gas set to aluminum. I've hooked up a bottle of argon. I've got my wire set to 145. It came on at 183.15. But just like with the other, it's kind of in the Synergy mode. So as I move this up, it's moving my amps up. So let's see if it's got it figured out. Let me try, see if I can put a little bead on this piece of aluminum. All right, so I thought that whenever, you know, I would just pick this up, I would weld just like I normally do with my MIG welder. But this thing just was not doing right. I could tell it just was, you know, balling up on the surface and everything. I tried adjusting my settings there, and then you can see me take a step back and kind of think, what am I doing wrong here? Well, with solid core wire, you have your, what I always call the ground, the one that goes to your table, hooked to the positive. When you're using flux-cored wire on this machine, you have to swap these wires over and change that back to the table being grounded and your lead being positive. You know, one of those things. And they have on that chart that I said that they should have downloadable, that I've got taped inside the cover, actually has pictures of that. So you look at the picture and it plainly shows it. So this was the very first time I started welding any aluminum. And so, you know, I'm going through here and taking my time, and this thing putting like a big fat bead up on there. So I realized, you know, that it was heating it up. I tried again. And so I'm like, okay, with aluminum, you have to travel a little faster than with steel. With steel, I always would kind of work back and forth, you know, and make sure it's beading in there good. So I ended up, you see, this is all real speed. And so I did a little tack on the front and back and ran it down there. And as you can see right here, that bottom bead actually is a good penetration and would be structurally sound. You know, I got a little dip there in the middle, but you can see those first ones right there is just kind of balled up, you know, big and fat, and that's where I was going too slow. But absolutely, for never having to have ever welded aluminum before and be able to run this bead, which would have held something. So I spent less than 15 seconds, you know, trying to figure out why this thing wasn't wanting to weld a decent bead. And, you know, so if I took 5-10 minutes, I was pretty confident that, you know, anybody who is somewhat adequate at regular MIG welding will be able to do aluminum welding with this machine, which I think is absolutely fabulous. All right, so now I'm going to take my hand at TIG welding. I've never TIG welded before, and I know one thing with TIG welding I've always heard is that it has to be super clean. And this is just some old pieces of angle iron I had, and I did hit it with a little wire brush, but as you can see, it's still pretty rusty. But you know, you're not putting any material, like with a rod, you can put in a lot of material, but MIG, you've got that wire going in there. So the thing about TIG is you're just using the metal that's there. So it was actually blending it in pretty good, but then as I was going, I could see where it's trying to get a little low spot there. So I grabbed some wire I had here and started trying to feed in that wire to give it a little extra metal. Now, TIG is one of those kind of like an art, you know, people who know how to do it can make this stuff look beautiful. But again, this is my very first attempt at TIG welding, and as I was feeding it in, I was able to get a good smooth bead. And the thing about it was the metal's all melting together, holding good, but I'm not getting that build up on top. So once again, this is going to be something that a person who has never TIG welded before, maybe take a little bit more practice to get good at it. But with this machine, it actually lets a novice user that hasn't gone to years or months of schooling be able to actually TIG. But just like with anything, it's going to take practice to make perfect. But the machine itself actually worked really good, and you can see a nice little bead I laid down there. All right, so there you go. With this yes welder, yes, you can weld with that sucker. It actually took me just a little bit to kind of figure out, get everything set up right. But I was able to, one, just weld with a stick weld right out the box, no problem whatsoever. MIG welding, it took me maybe 30 seconds, 2 or 3 little small beads before I kind of got the machine figured out on the settings that I liked that worked good for me. And then setting up for aluminum. MIGing aluminum, that is a game changer in itself for me. I have never been able to weld aluminum, and I was able to get some really good weld, really good penetration on that aluminum. TIGging the aluminum, I think I had my power up way too high. So the TIGging on aluminum, I've never TIGged before. Then just right here with the metal, it's just some old angle iron, which I know at TIG, you're supposed to be super clean. And I brushed it off, but just wanting to try it out, and was TIGging the couple pieces of angle iron together, and decent looking bead. For never having done it before, have never had anybody showed me how to do it before, or I even watched a tutorial. I think it came out pretty good. Take a little bit of time to get the hang of it, to get those really pretty beads. But that's the difference between a $15 an hour and a $50 an hour, and I'm at a 50 cent an hour right now. So, but the machine is actually capable of doing it. So it does have where you could hook it up for the aluminum spool, and then you wouldn't have to change out the liner and all that. What I think would probably be easier is just, I've got another machine and just change the whole whip out whenever I'm going to go and leave that liner and everything in for the aluminum. The TIG setup I purchased separately. You got to have a certain one because this doesn't have a solenoid. So the TIG whip runs right off the tank. So my other one, TIG setup, didn't work on this machine because this machine doesn't have the solenoid. So you got the give and take. It all is going to depend on what you're planning on doing with this machine. So this machine can pretty much do most anything. It's big enough that you're not going to hit that duty cycle near about as quick as if you buy one of those little machines. And really, most people, whenever they set up, they kind of set up to do the same type of welding. You got a project, you're going to stick weld it all, you're going to MIG weld it all, you're going to TIG weld it all. So this machine takes a little bit to get, you know, swapped over from one to the other, but once it's set up, then you just come home, flip the switch. So I don't think that's going to be an issue. So definitely check out the links. I'm gonna put everything, my helmet, gloves, all that kind of stuff. You know, I found these gloves. They're super soft. You know, some of the best welding gloves. The auto darkening helmet, and this one's got the 3. So I even get the on the sides over here, give me good vision all the way around. So definitely check out the links in the description. And you know, well, yes, Welder shipped me this welder, but I get sent a lot of stuff, and if it's garbage, I'll say it's garbage. And just like on this, I pointed out the things that I think should be in here that's not. You know, in the book, it's got the you need 20 to 30 cubic feet an hour of air. That's not written on the machine. I think that should be written on the machine for your airflow. The little wheels in there for the MIG doesn't match the book, and it's not written on the machine. So I think everything should be written on the machine. So again, it's not a 100% perfect, but for the price, I don't think you're going to find a better deal out there. So till next time, I hope everybody has a wonderful day.